I don't see... Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Hey, can you hear me? Strange, I'm not hearing you. Let me check things on my end. Audio check 1 2 1 2. Can you hear me? Okay, I can hear you now, but you're not hearing the music, are you?
I'm hearing music from the stream.
But you're not hearing it on Discord.
I have the mod turned down.
See, I'm not seeing its mic light up. I'm not seeing its mic light up on here, indicating that it's even getting input. Well, that tells me I've still got some Discord audio problems to work on. Alright. I'm not going to worry about that tonight. I'm going to disconnect the Discord because I don't need it for tonight's session, and I've only got like 30 seconds left. Alright, thank you. Bye. Alrighty, it is time for some Monday Night Sci-Fi, and of course I'm chasing audio gremlins tonight, so never fails. Never fails. I think I can fix it next time though. Next time I have an actual gaming session. So tonight is a behind the scenes look at a session prep for Starfinder, for what is their published Adventure Path 7, the first module of which is the Reach of Empire. So I've got this module already downloaded and present in Fantasy Grounds, but I'm going to go through and build out my actual session using the materials presented. And you know, when it comes to published campaigns, because there's always going to be somebody who peaks in the player neighborhood at content, I do like to always add a little custom flavor or change things up a little. So tonight I'm going to go through this adventure and build it out for an actual gaming session in Fantasy Grounds, get all my session notes and everything put together, and have it ready pretty much to play. Now this is part one of a 3-part adventure path, AP7 from Paizo, and so I'm going to focus on this one, and I'm thinking this can be a one-shot, but I'm not 100% certain, because it does have the players level up partway through the adventure, and then at the end of the adventure it's assumed that there'll be 3rd level. So this is a 1st level player character adventure, and they level up to 2nd level midway, and then by the end of the adventure they should be 3rd level. So all that being said, I want to pick it apart and put it back together again to my liking, you know. For those of you just joining us, this is my regular Monday night stream. Sometimes it's a game night, other nights it's a game prep, and tonight it just happens to be a prep. So let's get this party started, shall we? Okay. Okay. Let me close some windows out on my end, or at least minimize them, so that I can get this going. So this adventure starts out with the players, you know, your player hooks are your story hooks are twofold. They are delivering parts, delivering supplies to Nakundus for an old friend, or which is basically a paid gig. The second story hook, yeah, they're here to make a delivery, meet an old friend. That's really the only hook they've given us with this adventure, and I'd like to have more than one hook. So let me see what I can drum up based on the content. Based on the content, I'm going to say an old friend has contacted them. A recently discovered crashed spacecraft of unknown origin communications were cut off before more details were provided. Okay, so we're going to use the same old friend off of the story, except they're going to instead of being delivering supplies, they are going to be investigating what happened with their friend that they got cut off. So and actually I want to break this out into a separate communication or separate document. Whoops. Now we'll put the story hook in here and just drag and drop. Okay, so that links it together. If I can shrink this down, it's not going to let me. Bummer. Okay, so for one of these two reasons, and I would like to come up with a third reason as to why they would be here. Okay. So they're going to get here. The first thing that's going to happen is they exit drift space. Cutscene. What's with the weird? Excuse me. Okay. delete this. Why is Fantasy Grounds wanting to be weird? Let's close it and reopen it. Yep, it's just going to be weird. I'm thinking it might be something with this module. Now let's do it over again. Okay, now we can put our story hook up here. Okay. Exiting drift space. Close to the planet. The player's ship is intercepted by 2 drone. Okay, so we're going to basically start here. They're immediately going to get thrown into a combat encounter. Oh, let's see. Are we going to have this as the Islamic patrol? No, that's an actual ground patrol. So we do not have this here immediately. So we've got to build an encounter. Event 1 when drones attack. And we have tokens, but we don't have full images, so we're going to have to fix this. So we have a couple things we want to do. We've got a space map. Okay. And then we have 2 drones we want on it. Alright, but we've got to build an encounter. I'm going to lump these into uncategorized for now. This is going to be Macundus. Macundus, am I spelling that right? NDIS. Orbital drone fight. Well, I probably shouldn't put that in the encounter name. That kind of gives it away immediately. Alright, so let's get these drones into here. Drag and drop. Of course not. So interestingly enough, it will not let me put this in here as a combat. So that's bizarre. Unlocked. There's my my drones. At this time, there is no encounter record for starship battles. Tokens for starships has been provided. In addition, below is the starship record for the Aslantean. Okay. Okay, so poop is what I'm hearing. That'll be what they face off against, and we're gonna have to so they're gonna face off against these two drones, but they don't have the ability to build this as an encounter, which is poop. So that tells me there's some maturity issues inside of Fantasy Grounds when it comes to ship-to-ship combat. Okay, although the Barazad left Nakonis to explore the rest of the system, it didn't leave the space undefended. 2 orbital drones zip around the planet prepared to intercept and disable any non-Aslanti ships that approach. The orbital drones immediately attack the PCs as soon as they detect it. A PC can identify the drones as automated craft with a DC-13 engineering check, although the machines are of a design unknown to the Pact worlds. A PC who succeeds at a DC-20 culture check recalls tales of drones resembling these that were deployed by the aggressive and expansionist Aslanti Star Empire. As the fight begins, the 2 drones flank the PC ship, place the 2 Aslanti drones 3d6 plus 5 hexes apart from each other, facing each other, and place the PC ship between the 2 drones. Okay, so we need to grab the map. Well, that's a bummer that we can't do it the way I wanted to, but that's okay. We're going to do is see if it'll let us drag and drop. No, it wants to do a pin, and I don't want the spy drone, so get that off of there. We want Clockwork's drone. So do we have a token for this? We should have. That's going to be all your ground encounters. What we actually want are the ships. Let's do this. Let's put the orbital drone, if it'll let us, out here. There we go. And it said 3d6 plus 5 apart, right? Well, we can do 3d6. So they're going to be 10 sectors or 10 spaces apart. We're going to drop our other drone right about there. Okay, now we need to put the player character's craft in here. So, not a drone. What are we going to be flying into here? We're going to be flying in a probably a void sweeper. Is that but that's an Aslanti ship, is it not? Nope. Okay, so let's see if we've got it. We're going to drop it into the map. We're going to put it over right about in between these two ships. Oh, nope, 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 nope. I don't want the damn pointer. I want the actual ship. Grab me the token. Okay. We're gonna move this guy over here. And there we go. So that's going to be our encounter map immediately as we come out of drift space. Let's make sure that those saved. They did. Perfect. Okay. So we're immediately going to jump into space combat. So we'll have to deal with that. And then there will be 2 rewards here. Okay. This is going to be a drone encounter. Now, if there will be a story award. If they learn of their origin. Yep. And we're back to being weird. And then there will be an award if they defeat the drones as well. Okay. Will there be a parcel associated with this? I need to look and see if there's anything they can salvage. Okay. Okay. Approaching the Condas, there's going to be a comm jam. So we want to build that into this set of notes. Okay. Okay. Communications around Nacondas are being jammed. Let's see. So let's see. They're gonna do a computer check to detect the general. Okay, using ship sensors can detect the general layout of the settlement. Gonna pull that into here. And then the Condas colony itself. That's going to be once they land. I tell you what, I always like having some good imagery. So let's grab a couple of things. We've got the drone. Okay. Now we know that Nacondas is a misty world, and that the mist has a static charge that can build up. So I want to find an actual image that we can use for this. We need a misty planet. So bear with me for a second. Actually, let's see if the PDF has anything we can use. We'll jump over there and share that. I'll share that with you real quick. Let's see what we got. I like this image of this larger image of the Void Sweeper. Let's see if we can snip that bad boy and make better use of it than what we have right now. For Starfinder. This is a Vanguard Void Sweeper. And what other imagery can we get in here? Okay, Acrobat, quit being stupid. Okay, I want the drone fight imagery. Save that bad boy, because I always like to have images to pull up. Okay, so let's embed that in my session, because that's always stuff that I like to present to my players when we're playing. Oh yeah, I definitely understand that. We've played a few times. I'm getting ready to run this game for some friends, and I like to get like session prep done inside of my tabletop, my virtual tabletop, Fantasy Grounds in this case, for running the game, because it makes it much smoother, and I'm not clicking around into this area or that area to find stuff. I kind of use the story feature to write my session plan, and then that way I can reference it quickly, don't have to click around as much, and as is prone to happen when you're playing, things get out of order because players make a different choice at this juncture. But it's easy to just jump around inside of my session document than it is to just click around through all the different asset sections. makes my job as a GM/DM much easier. So this is kind of my preferred way for building out a gaming session inside of Fantasy Grounds Unity. But yeah, that's awesome. The the gaming stores here in town don't carry Starfinder, so I usually have to either make a trip to Houston or Conroe. There is a store in Conroe that has some really cool stuff once in a while. Otherwise, I'm in Houston for work 3 days a week, so I'll hit one of those stores and get some material. And I just decided, since my this is a new game for us, we've only played it one other time, that you know, having a couple of one-shots are a great way to get orientated and learn the game, and then I can dive off into actual home brewing stuff and going that route. Okay, so images and maps. Now this is a quirk of this interface versus the D&D rules, is even though it says images and maps, if I go over here to images, I get a different window. So that's just a weirdness thing. Well, we're going to add some items. We're going to actually import the stuff I just grabbed. So bear with me. I want to grab the drone fight. And then I also want to grab the Vanguard Void Sweeper. And then why did it give me a new record? I don't know. Clean that out. So we're going to travel here with this vehicle. Oh goodness. And then the actual drone fight. But I want a picture of a planet that I can use for Nacondas. So just because it's always great to have something as a reference for your players. So I'm like super OCD. Sorry about that. That's my personality. So bear with me. You know, we know it's mostly a timber world. It's mostly a green world, so we want a misty wooded world. Maybe I have to phrase this a little differently. Oops. Helps if my mouse is cooperating. I almost picture it as a dry Dagobah. Here we go. Let's see if we can grab this. Except I don't want it in this format. And I don't want the moon in it, so bear with me. Alright, we're gonna use our old buddy here to there we go. It's always great to have visual aids for your players. So they're gonna arrive at Nacondas and, well, crap. I meant to import, not just drop that there. Stop editing. Now let's do this. There we go. So, we're going to exit drift space close to Nacondas. There's your Nacondas image. It's a nice forested globe. I like it. Okay, perfect. Immediately jump into a starship fight with 2 drones. Okay. After the fight with the drones is over, okay, Nacondas colony. Okay. Contacting and landing on Nacondas. Nacondas colony opener. Now what we want is we want do we have okay. We will be able to reference the Nacondas colony map. Players, that will be this map. We're going to land at Madelon's Landing. Unable to contact the settlement. Okay, because the communication is jamming. Alright, perpetual fog. Can't see the settlement as they fly above the landscape. General layout of the settlement. 100 humanoids. Computer check. Incongruous structure in the middle of the settlement. Prefab building with sweeping curves that resembles a fortress. Okay, so we're going to have we want is a Aslanti fortress design, maybe, as an image, if we can come up with something. Okay. All right, so we want something to indicate a fortress with laser turrets on the ground. Might have to scrub that for now. Let's pop back out and hide our document. Notable locations. Do we have picture of the landing. Let's drop that into... Okay, so they're going to approach Nakonda's colony, attempt to land at the landing. However, is going to indicate that they do not want to land here. This is going to be Medalon's landing. What do we have as a good potential? Sorry, y'all. I had some dental work done today, so I'm still a little tender. Not nearly as bad as the last time. They did my left side last time, and I bled for 15, 16 hours. This time it stopped bleeding, you know, just a little while ago. But it's still uncomfortable, and needless to say, the Novocaine is wearing off, so my jaw hurts like hell. But I am toughing it out because we want to get some cool stuff done to build out our gaming session tonight. Let's see. Do we have... anything in our image library for this module for and then we have a map of the garrison, but we don't have an indication of the turrets, which sucks. Because there's supposed to be 2 laser turrets. On the garrison. Let me see. Commons. Medalon's module. Junk shop. Cemetery. Stable, greenhouse. So we don't have an indication on the map. Okay, that's a bummer. Means I've got to develop something. So need Zalante Fortress, and this is going to be one of those prefab buildings with 2 turrets. I'll have to do some digging on that. Okay. Okay. So, they're not going to land at Medalon's. They're going to have to land elsewhere. So, looking at the colony map, the landing is here. You've got a botany camp to the southeast, Dalesko to the northeast, a crash site to the northwest, and the Whispering Hills to the southwest. There's a lake, another botany camp, a thicket. So several botany camps, but where is going to be a good clearing to land at? That is going to be the $64 million question. So the Commons would be your preferred landing point. Walking distance for ships for clearings. Okay, so let's reference the colony map. Yes, you have some clearings around it. You have a suitable site to the north and a suitable site to the south. You're going to be traipsing through some trees to get there. Okay. So that's going to have to be they're going to determine, hey, we can't land at our normal spot in the Commons because there's now this fortified structure in the way. We've got to find an alternate place to land. Let's move this around because the landing's going to be the first thing they determine. Why are you being a horse's butt? There we go. Okay. So they'll have to land elsewhere. Okay. Overland trek. Shouldn't take more than an hour. The forests are dense and misty. The fungal undergrowth is light. Doesn't impede. Okay, so there could be a random encounter with either some hobgars, some Imperial troopers, or a escaped colonist. So, do we have encounters already built for said stuff? Or do I need to do that? So I think the fugitive. Okay, so there's your random encounters here. And so we've got an Aslanti patrol of 3 privates. You've got native pests. You've got a fugitive. I don't think that's the one we're looking for. So who was our... fugitive CR1. Okay, so we need to create a random encounter table and weight these. So you have 3 encounters. One of which, okay, is the fugitive, is C. So are we going to encounter these? Okay. So, after they've approached, they're going to have to land. Landing at Nakonda's colony. Why are we still... There we go. So they're going to have to pick a landing site. This needs to be here. And then they're going to land at Nakonda's colony, and then they're going to have to make it on foot to the landing. They're going to have 3 different encounters on the way, an A, a B, and a C. Do we have a decent map? Let's just do a reference for map. We have a map for the Islani Patrol. We have a map of the garrison. And a map for encountering the fugitive. So, I guess my thought process is this. This is a first level adventure, so you don't want to overload them. The space combat's going to be fairly straightforward because you're fighting drones. You get on the ground, and then we've got to look at you've got an Islani patrol, native pests, and a fugitive. I'd say we're going to encounter the native pests first. Okay, so they're going to have 3 encounters here. The first is going to be the native pests. Okay. Just going to have the map. And then the encounter. Of which there are going to be 3 of them. Okay. Okay, drawn to the PCs, aggressive enough to attack directly. Lurk in the tall grass. So, we want to put them in the grass. Okay. PCs can notice them with successful perception check against the stealth check of the baddies. Okay. Let's put them in the weeds. Okay, so they're now on the map. So encounter 1 native pests. I'm gonna throw down the map and the encounter. Wait a minute. Placeholder text. Okay. That's going to be their first encounter. Encounter 2 is going to be the fugitive. Let's close that out. Now, so they're going to run headlong into the fugitive. He's fleeing in the other direction. Let's go ahead and stick him on the map. Why does it label him as an Islandi private? We want to unlock this and actually name him Chult Folsom. Now relock it. Okay, so he's on the map now. Let's make sure the map opens up with him on it. It does. Fugitive. It's got his name on it now instead of Islandi private. Okay. So that's going to start out with a CR1 challenge and then bump up to another CR1 challenge. Is that right? And then lastly, they're going to bump into the Islandi patrol. Okay. Okay, we've got his speech bubbles here. Let me drag and drop that. The way I want to. Okay, we'll leave that alone for now. We can always work on that. And then encounter 3. will be the Aslanti Patrol. Okay. I'm doing this in this order for a reason, is I want them to build their experience before they run headlong into fighting these guys. Let's see. Make your way through forest, cross the path of 3 Aeon guard cadets looking for colonists. Since the mist is thick here, PCs that are away each other until they're within 30 feet. Okay. They're on a search and destroy mission. Okay, so let's drop. If you've got 3 on patrol, they're going to be spaced out a little bit, right? They're not going to be on top of each other, and they're probably going to be close by each other enough as far as, you know, maybe in a line for combat. That's kind of how I envision it. Now let's put them on here. This is the map, and if our buddies manage to encounter them, but there's a story award here if they manage to avoid combat. It says if the PCs manage to avoid combat by hiding or fleeing from the cadets, award them 600 XP as if they had defeated the cadets in combat. However, these cadets can later be found resting in an area M2 of the Aslanti garrison. If they're defeated there, do not award the PCs additional XP for encountering them. Okay. So that takes care of our 3 encounters getting to Madelon's Landing, right? Players will be traveling foot from their landing site to Madelon's Landing through fog or mist-shrouded forest paths. Okay. We've got our 3 encounters on the way. Alright. So, once they've made it to town, or to the landing, do we have a interesting that they would have a person in here called Sedona but not have them in the system. So I'm going to make a note in my story hooks, because I like to have notes for myself of things I need. Need NPC information for Sedona. Which I think the text says Sedona is an android. An android scholar named Sedona. So we need to put that in my notes. Sedona has contacted them regarding a recently discovered crash-based craft of unknown origin. Communications were cut off before more details were provided. The players are coming to investigate the reason for the communications disruption. And to check on the well-being of their friend. So there's my story hooks, right? But I need to get an NPC in here because the story's incomplete without it. So we want to add that in. And then I also need to have an Aslanti fortress built image-wise for that. Okay, so approaching Necondus. That's the nice thing about having need in here is I can search for it and makes my job a lot easier. Alright, so we've made it through getting here, getting to Necondus, evading or destroying the 2 orbiting drones. I think it's going to be a case of destroying. Go to land, but to find that the landing site has got a structure, what looks to be a fortified structure in the middle of it now. So they can't land there, and that's definitely suspicious. So they land nearby, under cover of fog, which I may do a pilot skill check there for that. Landing in the fog to try to avoid detection kind of thing, just to add a little bit of drama to the landing. The pilot make a skill check to land in the mist-shrouded forest and avoid detection from the garrison at Madelons. Now, honestly, I'm not going to... this is going to be one of those, I'm making a player make a skill check just for the sake of making a skill check. It's I'm not going to have them fail it and then shoot them out of the sky, but it's being done to add a little bit of a tension element to the story, to make them think, oh shit, we've got to make a landing here. We're landing in a forested clearing in the forest, but it's misty, foggy. This place is reeking of all kinds of hazards. So just things to think about to add to the element of the story, right? And add to the tension. So let's see. Why are my tags... Okay, had to fix some tags on my stream. I'm like, what the hell? Alright, that's fixed. Okie dokie. So, we've got it this far. Now we've got to infiltrate the landing. So... the forces of the Empire and control the landing. PCs can't complete their delivery or discover the fate of their friend. Sufficient troops and robots to keep the settlement subdued. Master at Arms is currently the ranking officer. Okay. Jellic encourages the PCs to meet with Ebretta at her junk shop. Jellic takes the PCs to the rear of the junk shop and opens a concealed panel, waving the PCs inside. Although there aren't any Aslanti soldiers nearby, Jellic urges them to hurry in. So, we need... okay, so, we've traveled the landing, we've made the encounters. We are now done with Part 1, Necondus Under Siege. Part 2 is Ebretta's junk shop. The rebels of Madelon's Landing. Okay, so this is Nacondas under siege. Part 1. Nacondas under siege. Okay. Now we are commencing part 2. Rebels of Madelon's Landing, right? So we have got to... We probably need to reference the map again. Although we've done it up above, it doesn't hurt to do it again, because it keeps me from scrolling back and forth like a lunatic, right? Anything to make the flow of the game go smoother. Alright, so Bretta's Junk Shop. There's the speech mechanics workshop, blah blah blah. Reclusive and curmudgeonly columnist of Bretta Folsom. Okay. Okay. Now Bretta's coy. Let's see what she's got up her sleeves. Got other resistance members. She doesn't want to expose them. She doesn't want to say it. She wants some proof of the PC's abilities and intentions. So she's going to be a little suspicious. So what has she got them wanting to do? Following short missions for the PCs. Entering. Okay, so we're going to be... Oops. Angelic. Players and making contact with a Bretta Folsom at the junk shop. Who will? Okay. Now she's going to have some missions for them. Following short missions in whatever order they deem best, present in the order that Bretta thinks would be the most effective means to weaken the position of the Islani occupiers in the settlement. Bretta is unsure of the player's intentions. It's proof of their capabilities. So she has several missions. Like them to complete to reassure her as well as support the resistance. Okay, here we go. Resistance. Spell it right, Brian. Placeholder. Okay, so Bretta's Junk Shop. We have several missions. Okay, what additional missions does she have? So let's take a look at these. Storehouse Ruse. Send a cadet to the settlement storehouse. Fears that the colonist's good-hearted supply clerk might have attempted some ill-advised heroics if the PCs investigate the storehouse. See Area E. Okay. So, there we go. Storehouse Ruse, Hopgar Liberation. Okay. Release the beasts. Cemetery ambush, okay. I got a moisture evaporator. Okay, which is being controlled by the Islami. Gotta get a drink, y'all. Give me a second. Okay, so these are good builds, and I think at this point, in terms of player development, if we get Assault the Garrison, okay, so what are her secondary missions? Meeting the rebels. Okay. So I'm going to make a note on her missions here. So we're going to unlock this. I hate the way this thing wants to format. How do I get it to stop? Just plain text, chat frame, list, body text. There we go. Have the players level up to second level before continuing. I'm going to do this to give them their best chance of success. So if they complete these smaller missions, then before they assault the garrison, we're going to level up, because it does say that in the middle of the second part of the story, or the second part of the adventure, that you want to be second level. So if the rebels of Madelon's Landing, let's see. Bretta's missions, the resistance. PCs assault the garrison after only one or two of missions or worse decide to attack the garrison first. They likely find the doors very difficult to breach. Even if they do, the Islati on site prepare for a massive counterattack. In addition to the foes listed here, the garrison includes the 2 additional senior Aeon Guard cadets from Area J and the 2 observer-class security robots from Area K. In addition, the soldiers in the garrison quickly recall the patrol from Area G, hoping to catch attackers in a pincer maneuver. With all these forces arrayed against them, the PCs probably have to flee. Master at Arms orders the Azami to allow fleeing PCs to leave. He wants to monitor their presence in town and capture them later along with any accomplices. So, this is why I'm saying level up before attacking the garrison. So it makes sense from my perspective as the GM. We're going to level up before continuing to assault the garrison. mission. Okay. Okay, so that's her primary mission. She has some additional missions that can be peppered throughout the encounter. And that is going to be meeting the rebels, the executioner. Okay. Chult gets caught. They plan on executing him. And that's her ex-husband. So, yeah. So we want to... Yep, we're going to have an emotional attachment there. We want to build a relationship with Bretta as well as Chult so that the players feel the need to mount a rescue mission. So we get to work our story craft there. That's the fun part of this, right? Okay. Salami reaction. Gonna be some robots, some robot hunting. Sticky bomb grenades. Okay. Hiding out. So after the junk shop, let's take it after all of those. So the garrison is not listed as a CR in terms of the fight. Okay. Prefab building lowered to the planet's surface in pieces and assembled on site. Very different from the colonist dwellings. Center of the settlement, built on the town commons both for the sake of convenience and to intimidate the colonists. 15 foot high. Steel building, tough as a starship bulkhead, floodlights. Limits visibility of 40 to 60 feet. 2 roof-mounted heavy laser cannons against attacking starships and can't be oriented to fire at ground level targets. Okay, we have 2 maps of the garrison. We have a player map and a DM's map. Let me take a look at the GM map first. We have staging area, main staging encounter, kitchen, mess, barracks, washroom, command center, brig. Who's in the brig? Oh, there's a trap in the brig? That's just savage. Garrison commander's office, rec room, gear staging, supply room. Okay, so in her missions, let's take a look at it real quick. The assault on the garrison. And there's the maps. Okay, so I'm not going to embed those into my session prep because they are linkable from there. After the garrison is taken. So the next step is going to be hacking the computer. Okay. Let me the administrator. Okay. So freeing Madelon is going to be a piece of this. After the PCs successfully deal with the Aslanti garrison and free Madelon from the brig. Okay. So all of the rebellion is going to deal with the missions for Abretta. We need okay, the commander's office. Okay. Okay, so there's an image here, but there's no NPC stats for said. Okay, so we need free the settlers. Share information regarding Sedona's whereabouts, as well as Aslanti activity. Okay. Text placeholder, let's drop Madelon in here. Colonists is the better word to use here, right? All right, have a good evening and thanks for joining. Always enjoy chatting with people while I'm building too, so. All right, and then ship upgrades will be part of this. So the next step So Madelon's going to share the information that Sedona was here but was transferred away. and then go to the crash site. Okay. Now, the question is, how are they going to the crash site? Part 3. History unearthed. Crash site of the Royal Venture is about 12 miles northwest of Madelon's Landing. Madelon or any other imprisoned colonist can give clear directions to the PC, as Sedona told them where she found it. If the PCs make the trek on foot through the treckless forest, the journey takes most of a day. If the PCs ask about faster ground transportation, Madelon offers 3 hover trikes, which will only take 4 hours. The PCs might instead decide to take their starship over to the crash site, which takes only a few minutes. The PCs can find a sufficiently large clearing to land their ship within a 20-minute walk of the crash site. Keep track of whether the PCs travel by foot, hover trike, or by ship, as it determines their response time in the starship combat at the end of the adventure. Okay. I'm not sure why this is here. I think that's a miss document. That should be in the prior section, right? That's bizarre. Okay. PCs might think to investigate the site of the crash probe, which led to Sedona to find the Royal Venture in the first place. The probe crash site is only a few hundred yards south of the Royal Venture, but it doesn't hold any interesting clues other than the fact that the wreckage, no larger than an escape pod, is plainly of Aslanti design, much like the orbital drones and the security robots. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, fair enough. Royal Venture crash site. Okay, so the Royal Venture crash site. Okay, can I embed that? Okay, so we want the map of the Royal Venture crash site. Add it in here. And then we're going to have a set of encounters here as well, I'm sure. Okay, so we've got to pull together. Royal Venture. We're going to be at the entry. So when they first come in, wrecked cargo hold. Are they coming in through? Walkway. Engine room, which is collapsed. Couple of Aslanti zombies. An Aslanti robot. Okay. So we're going to pull these together. Using the map. The map. The map. The map. The map. The map. Dead on guard. Cadet lays sprawled on the ground, in a pool of brown blood, next to a partially dug hole. Her throat has been torn out. Okay, several hours before the PCs arrived on the scene, a lone synapse worm, an omnivorous vermin with the ability to daze its prey, crept up on the cadet and caught her in its synaptic shock web. It then crawled up her stunned form and sank its teeth into the closest vulnerable part of her body it could reach. She bled out in a matter of seconds, and the synapse worm started to dig a hole to save the remainder of this feast for later. It was interrupted by the PC's arrival, and it hides under one of the Royal Venture's fins. It lunges out to attack the PCs if they touch its meal, attempting to surprise them. Okay. Royal Venture. Locations and encounters. Okay, so we're going to have N1. To 1-in-1 entry. Okay, so... Oh, goodness. Why does this not... pull all of this together? Let's take a look at story. Here we go. So now we have the entry. Let me pull this map over here to the side. And then we have into the port walkway. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. So just basically putting it all together. Did we hit the limit of the story sign? No, I was like, surely not. 40206 is going to be followed by 40207. 40208. 9. 10. Okay. So that will give us actually everything, because that includes the encounter right there, linked to it, as well as the treasure parcels. So that puts everything together. Now, the next thing that happens is after this, after they've concluded the exploration of the Royal Venture and defeated Lieutenant Shrew, give them 10 minutes before they head back to the landing. They get a communication from the colony or from the landing site indicating there is a ship approaching from orbit or approaching orbit. So we're going to end up in another firefight in space. Okay, so and then this will be event 2. The Barazad. So I hope you see how this all kind of builds out as a single piece. Makes life a lot easier as a DM to have all of this organized like this. So we're going to have an additional map in space. Let's see. Is it going to reuse that one? Unfortunately. And then we're going to mark this as hidden for now, because I will reuse the same map for this second fight. So we have a basic completed adventure for first level that by the end of the adventure should have them at third level. All the resources are compiled into one session prep, which could be played in one session, could be played over multiple sessions, just kind of a great way to organize all this stuff. But we have a start to finish game ready to go using published materials as well as some materials we drew from the internet. Now I still have some unfinished things that I need to do. I need to develop some NPC information for a female, whoops, android scholar. So that needs to be fleshed out. And then once that's done, the next step is I need to have a graphic design for an Aslanti fortress. And then some other things I would like to have. It would be nice to have a map of the junk shop. I don't think we have. Yeah, we don't have a map of Abretta's. That would be a good thing to have, especially if you're going to stash items in there. Here goes the notes on advancement. PC beginning at first level. Should reach second level during the liberation of Madelon's Landing, which I'm saying do that before the garrison fight. And then third level by the end of the adventure. Okay. I think we have all of our session prep that we need for this game to go. I don't see anything else that I want to add right now, other than I need to do a little homework, do a little graphic homework and put some stuff together. But that stuff I can do in an afternoon and have it put together and ready to go. So for those of you tuning in tonight, I appreciate it. If it's your first time here, you like what you see, hit the follow button, turn on those notifications when we go live. I'm ready to run this, going to be ready to run this game in a week or two. I think I'm actually going to list this one out on Start Playing Games for a session run and possibly a stream as well, in case you're interested in playing. Although I hope you didn't take too many notes on what we were doing tonight. Please don't hit rewind and cheat. But my next stream will be Wednesday evening at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, where I'll be doing some world building, which I've done a lot of building out of random tables for Starfinder and for Traveler, for both. And so you'll see, I can kind of show those off here where I've built them out. And that is useful for random encounters and things of that nature. So I did that intentionally so that I had a lot of resources available, because, you know, as a GM you have to improvise a lot. But I want to thank you for joining me tonight. Hopefully we'll see you again Wednesday evening. Beyond that, Saturday evening we normally do a weekend adventures, but my players, we just completed a massive 4-hour session this past Saturday. The next 2 Saturdays, I think we have our prior commitments, so we won't come together as a gaming group until the 27th. So I will probably do some gaming Saturday night, maybe some Neverwinter Nights or some Baldur's Gate 3, and stream that if you'd like to see me stumble around like a crazy person inside of those games. But other than that, I'm gonna wrap it up for the evening. Appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you again next time. Thanks a lot, and have a great rest of your evening.